My mom said I wasn't invited to my sister's wedding, but she didn't know I owned a restaurant. My name is Douglas. I'm 29 years old. For the longest time, I clung to the belief that my family would eventually recognize me as more than just the convenient problem solver they had molded me into. But people don't change simply because you wish they would. Sometimes, they dig in their heels, and when they do, you're left with no choice but to stop hoping and start remembering who you truly are. I grew up as the eldest of 3 siblings. Next came Muriel, the golden child, and then Benjamin, the unexpected addition who was too young to be entangled in the family's intricate dynamics. From an outsider's perspective, we probably appeared close-knit, family holiday photos, cordial comments on social media, the usual digital facade. But behind the scenes, I was the one expected to clean up everyone's messes. When Muriel had a minor accident in college, I was the one who dipped into my savings to help her keep it under wraps so she wouldn't jeopardize her internship. When Mom forgot to pay the utility bills multiple times and tried to pin it on Benjamin's gaming habits, I quietly covered the expenses. No thank yous. Just a nod and a vague, well, that's what family does, right? I continued this pattern for years. Every favor, every dollar, every ounce of emotional labor, I gave it all without protest. I thought that maybe, just maybe, if I kept showing up, they'd finally see me as someone they could be proud of. That illusion shattered last November on what should have been an ordinary afternoon. Muriel had just gotten engaged to her longtime boyfriend, Gregory. We weren't particularly close, but he always struck me as one of those harmlessly bland types. He wore boat shoes to Thanksgiving and said things like, "Killer spread, Mrs. H." Still, I was genuinely happy for her. I thought this might be the moment we all turned a corner. I texted her congratulations, offered to help however I could, and even volunteered to handle their honeymoon expenses as a wedding gift. She responded with a half-hearted thanks, and I didn't think much of it. Then, 2 weeks ago, I received a call from Mom while I was wrapping up work. I still don't know if she meant to let the venom in her voice slip through or if she genuinely didn't care that I heard it. "Don't even think about showing up to the wedding," she snapped before I could say hello. "Muriel's finally going to have the perfect day she deserves, and we're not going to let you ruin it." I was silent for a moment, trying to grasp what she was talking about. I wasn't planning on making a speech or doing anything flashy. I was just going to show up, clap at the appropriate moments, maybe hug a few people. Ruin it? How? I asked slowly. Her voice dropped into that saccharine tone she always used when she wanted to mask something cruel. "Douglas, you've never exactly looked the part. You know that, right? You always dress like you're going to a job interview and not a good one. And the way you hover around, it's off-putting. Muriel doesn't want you in the photos. She asked me to tell you, and frankly, I agree." I couldn't breathe for a second. It felt like my ears were ringing. All the years I'd bent over backward for them, all the effort to be supportive, and now I was being told I didn't even deserve a seat at the wedding, that I'd somehow ruined their perfect little family image by simply existing in the background. I could hear Muriel's voice in the background too, light, dismissive, laughing like this whole thing was some kind of inside joke. "Tell him he can send a gift, though," she called out. "He's still good for that." I didn't raise my voice. I didn't yell or defend myself. I just smiled. It was the same smile I used to give my boss when he tried to dump his work on me, the one that says, "You have no idea what I'm about to do." "Sure," I said, my tone light. "I understand." She hung up without another word. I opened my laptop, logged into the joint account I'd set up for the honeymoon gift, and reversed the transfer. $4,200 back into my pocket in 5 seconds. I took a screenshot of the reversal and texted it to Mom with a simple caption, "I wouldn't want to ruin anything." No reply, but I know she saw it. She always reads messages obsessively. Now, here's the part they really don't know. Last year, I quietly invested in a chain of mid-tier venues that were struggling post-pandemic. One of them happened to be the exact location Muriel bragged about booking on Instagram, Willow Creek Manor, the one with the big white gazebo and overpriced brunch menu. The moment I recognized it in her post, I double-checked my emails. Yep, it was under our portfolio. Not only did I partially own it, I had final sign-off power on all large events held there, including, say, weddings. At first, I considered pulling the plug immediately, just canceling the booking and watching them scramble, but that felt too easy, too quick. They wouldn't feel it. They wouldn't understand it. I wanted them to stew in their own smugness a little longer. I wanted them to post their countdown stories, their dress fittings, their seating chart arguments. I wanted them to laugh behind my back just a few more times. So instead, I've been watching patiently, waiting. I made a few quiet calls to the event coordinator at Willow Creek Manor, asking to be notified if there were any concerns or issues with the Harper wedding reservation. I reviewed the contract, and let me tell you, it's airtight except for one tiny clause buried deep in the fine print. Full payment is required 10 days before the event, or the booking is considered forfeited. Not delayed. Not postponed. Forfeited. The wedding is in 12 days, and as of this morning, no final payment has been submitted. I didn't need to do anything yet. Just wait. Watch. Let them keep treating me like a footnote, like a burden they'd rather crop out of the pictures. Let them keep smiling for the camera, completely unaware that the floor they're standing on was laid by the one person they deemed unworthy of standing beside them. It was amazing how quickly people forgot where their money came from once it was no longer being handed to them in silence. 2 days before the wedding, I got a short, professional message from the venue coordinator, Anna. She's been with Willow Creek Manor for a decade, calm under pressure and sharper than most people give her credit for. Hey Douglas, just a heads up. The Harper party still hasn't submitted the final payment. I've sent 2 reminders, but nothing yet. Let me know how you'd like to proceed since we're approaching the cutoff. I called her back that afternoon. I kept my tone casual, measured. If it's not paid by the deadline, mark the booking void per policy, I told her. We'll just follow the contract. Anna paused. Are you sure? They've already confirmed vendors, musicians, floral setups. I think there's even talk of releasing doves. I let out a small, dry chuckle. Doves? That's ambitious. She laughed softly. Yeah, classy stuff. All right, I'll keep an eye on it. The deadline's close. I could have warned them. I could have texted Muriel something simple. Hey, just FYI, your payment's late. You might want to check in with the venue. But I didn't. Because I heard them clearly. I wasn't family, not in the way that earned a seat or a photo or a toast. I was an invisible wallet with a heartbeat. And for once, I wanted to see what happened when I didn't step in to catch the fall. On the morning of the payment deadline, I took the day off work. Treated myself to a proper breakfast, real eggs, buttered toast, and the kind of coffee that doesn't come from a breakroom pot. I checked my email around noon. Still nothing. No payment. No message. No last-minute flurry. Just silence. That evening, Anna confirmed the cancellation. The Harper booking was officially released. At 7:18 p.m., my phone rang, an unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. 30 seconds later, it rang again. Same number. I answered. Hi, is this Douglas? This is Stephanie, I'm Muriel's wedding planner. Of course it was. Yes, I said evenly. We're just trying to resolve a little hiccup with the venue. I believe there was some kind of error with the payment not processing, probably a glitch on our end. We were hoping you could help confirm everything's still okay for Saturday? I looked out the window as I replied. No system error. The payment deadline passed last night. The booking has been released. There was a moment of silence on her end. I could hear her breathing, then muffled voices arguing, perhaps. When she came back, her tone was different. Thinner. Less sure. But surely there's some flexibility? I mean, this is a once-in-a-lifetime event. The bride has her dress. Guests are traveling. You understand. I do, I said gently. But the contract is the contract. They had ample notice. This isn't unexpected. She hesitated, then stammered a vague, okay. I'll talk to Muriel. Less than an hour later, the second call came from my mother. Douglas, she barked, no greeting. What is happening with the venue? Muriel is in tears. They're saying the wedding was cancelled because of you. I raised an eyebrow even though she couldn't see me. Me? I didn't cancel anything. The payment deadline passed. The venue followed its policy. You knew and you didn't say anything? You let this happen? Her voice was rising now, high and brittle. I let what happen? I asked. You mean I didn't swoop in to cover another oversight? Again? There was a pause. I could almost hear the gears grinding. You really hate your sister that much? No, I said firmly. I just finally decided to stop letting you all treat me like I don't matter. You always make it about you. No, I repeated, quieter this time. You did. You made it about me when you said I wasn't worth a seat at the wedding. I'm just following your lead. She hung up. That night, I got a message from Muriel. No greeting. No emoji. Just, you seriously couldn't have warned us? Then, seconds later, wow. You're a bitter little man. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. Because the next part? That was entirely in my hands. Their dream wedding was unraveling. And they still had no idea how deep this was about to go. By the next morning, my phone was buzzing nonstop texts, missed calls, notifications lighting up like a faulty Christmas display. 2 missed calls from Muriel, 1 from Gregory, and several messages that swayed between guilt-tripping and thinly veiled outrage. This is still your family, Douglas. We don't have to agree on everything to support each other. I can't believe you'd actually do this. Sabotaging your own sister's wedding? That's beyond petty. I read them all in silence, coffee in hand. The bitterness rolling off their words was more revealing than they realized. But they didn't know the full picture. Muriel and Gregory had been presenting this wedding as if it were the social event of the season. Custom engagement photos in a sunflower field. A monogrammed website with a countdown clock. Matching welcome bags for every out-of-town guest. They had built their entire aesthetic around Willow Creek Manor. Every post. Every story. Every RSVP. That white gazebo wasn't just a ceremony backdrop, it was a centerpiece of their entire narrative. It was in their Pinterest board, their invitations, even the header on their wedding site. It was curated fantasy at its finest. And they didn't tell anyone I was the one footing the honeymoon. They posted about it like Gregory had pulled it off solo, can't wait to celebrate with this dream trip. Complete with hashtags and filters. They took the money, smiled for social media, and acted like I didn't exist. And that hurt more than I expected. Because I wasn't doing any of this out of spite at first. I genuinely wanted Muriel to have a beautiful day. I wanted to believe I was part of something she valued. But apparently, the brother who dressed too plain and hovered too quietly wasn't good enough for their narrative. Now, with 4 days to go, the clock was ticking. They were frantically looking for a new venue. I knew this because I still had quiet access industry contacts, vendor friends. People who knew not to say my name but were happy to whisper that the Harpers were in panic mode. I also knew that nothing decent was available that late in the game. Even if they found a space, they'd have to renegotiate floral arrangements, coordinate a new setup, contact all their vendors. It wasn't just a location problem anymore, it was a logistics nightmare. And the kicker? The custom rate they bragged about, the one they'd said they negotiated down from Willow Creek's usual premium, wasn't a negotiation at all. It was my doing. I told Anna to discount it quietly. My way of gifting something without fanfare. No awkward moment. No, you shouldn't have. Just quiet support. Now, that rate was void. If they tried to rebook? They'd pay double if the venue even allowed it. That afternoon, Gregory called. Hey, Douglas. Listen. I know things have gotten a little tense lately, but I wanted to talk. Just the two of us. I didn't say anything. Let him float in silence. He cleared his throat. Muriel's been really upset. This wedding, it means everything to her. To both of us. I think maybe there's a way to fix this. You've got connections, maybe you could talk to the venue. Explain. Help smooth things over? I waited a beat before answering. Gregory, did you know I was paying for the honeymoon? Silence. What? The honeymoon. The all-inclusive package in Maui. With the oceanfront villa and the private chef. That was me. I transferred the money 2 months ago. I know. I didn't know that. Of course not. Because Muriel didn't want you to. She told me I'd ruin the photos. That I wasn't welcome. So I took back the honeymoon. And now you want me to rescue the wedding? He hesitated. I'm not trying to pick sides. I just think you don't understand how stressed she's been. This day is everything to her. I almost laughed. Oh, I understand perfectly. I just don't care anymore. And I ended the call. A few hours later, I received an email from Anna. Subject line, update on Harper wedding. Muriel had called the venue in tears. Claimed she was blindsided. That it was unethical and unfair. She asked to speak to the owner directly. Anna wanted to know if I'd like to respond. I told her not yet. Instead, I logged into Willow Creek's internal system and added a small notice to their homepage. Please note, Willow Creek Manor will be hosting a private corporate event on April 27th. No wedding bookings will be honored on this date. April 27th, Muriel's wedding date. No names. No details. But anyone searching for a last-minute venue would see it and move on. Even venues that might have considered helping would assume Willow Creek was booked and wouldn't risk overlapping events. That was the last thread they didn't know I held. And I just tied it off. That night, my aunt texted me. "Aunt Carol, hi sweetheart. Can we talk? Muriel's heartbroken. Your mother is in pieces." I stared at the message for a minute, then typed back. She said I'd ruin her photos. I took that seriously. She left me on read. By the next morning, the group chat I'd been silently left out of lit up. My cousin forwarded me screenshots. My mother was raging, blaming the venue, blaming Anna, even blaming the moon or the weather. Anything but herself. She insisted this wasn't how families treated each other, how she tried so hard to include me. Muriel added her own touch. "Douglas has been jealous of me since high school. I always knew he'd find a way to ruin things." Jealous. That word stayed with me longer than I wanted. Jealous of what, exactly? The carefully constructed spotlight? The picture-perfect facade with cracks just beneath the surface? I had built my life quietly. My home. My finances. My peace. I helped without asking for credit. I carried burdens no one else saw. But now I was bitter for not letting them do it one more time. I forwarded the screenshots to Anna with a short note. "You can respond now. Tell them the owner reviewed the situation and denied the rebooking. Per policy." Then I made one final call. Carter, a friend of mine who runs a boutique catering company, owed me a favor. I asked him to host a small private luncheon, 10 people, same date, same time, same venue. He whistled on the other end. "You want to book out Willow Creek on their wedding day?" "Not just book it," I said. "I want photos. A full spread. Post it online. Tag the venue. Make it look like the celebration of the season." A long pause. "You're serious?" "They asked me not to attend the wedding," I said. "So I won't. But that doesn't mean I won't leave a footprint." Saturday arrived with weather so perfect it might have been scripted. Clear skies, soft sunlight, a light breeze over the lake. The grounds at Willow Creek looked like something out of a bridal magazine. I woke up early. Not because I had to, but because I wanted to watch it unfold. By 10 a.m., the first confused posts started popping up on social media. A bridesmaid in full makeup standing at a locked gate, is this a joke? No one's answering the phone. A distant cousin taking a selfie in her car, was the venue changed? Please tell me this isn't a prank. Groomsmen pacing in rented tuxes. A flower girl asleep in the backseat of an SUV, her little shoes still clean. They hadn't told anyone. That part surprised even me. I'd assumed Muriel or my mother would at least send a last-minute cancellation text. But no, so certain that someone, me, would intervene, they'd done nothing. Entitlement had turned into paralysis. Then came the post that made me laugh out loud. Willow Creek Manor is honored to host a beautiful lakeside luncheon for a private client today. Celebrating growth, vision, and the power of perseverance. Hashtag private event, hashtag booked out, hashtag spring celebration. Crisp white linens. Waitstaff in formal vests. A champagne tower beside the lake. Crystal dishes glinting in the sunlight. And in the background? Muriel's custom archway redecorated with greenery and used as the backdrop for our dessert table. The hand-painted wooden sign she'd commissioned that once read "Forever starts here?" Carter's team had flipped it and lettered over it. "Success starts here." I wish I could have seen her face. Just after noon, Anna called. "Douglas," she said, barely containing a chuckle, "we have a group of people trying to climb the side gate." I laughed. That has to be a joke. Nope. One of the groomsmen claims he knows someone inside. And yes, they brought the doves. 2 handlers and a crate. They're sitting on the curb right now. "You've been incredible, Anna." "Really? Thank you." "You don't owe me anything," she replied. This has been the most entertaining Saturday shift of my career. At 2:41 p.m., my mother called. I didn't answer. Then Muriel. Then Gregory. Then my aunt. I ignored them all. Instead, I opened the family group chat, the one I hadn't left yet, and typed 2 words. "You're welcome." Then I exited the chat. That night, I heard from Benjamin. My younger brother. The one who never joined in the silent sabotage. He hadn't gone to the wedding. He hadn't even packed a suit. He called me the day after I cancelled the honeymoon money. Said, if they're going to act like you don't exist, I'm not going to pretend they're saints. Now, his message was short. I saw the posts. I'm proud of you. They needed it. Call you tomorrow. For the first time in years, I felt something deeper than pride. Peace. Because people like Muriel, like my mother, build their world on illusion. They carefully stitch together their image with light and laughter and soft-colored filters. But no one would remember how lovely her dress was. They'd remember standing in the parking lot with unanswered calls. The doves that stayed in their crate. The catered event happening inside without them. And maybe, just maybe, someone would eventually wonder if Muriel wasn't the victim at all. 2 days later, my mother showed up at my apartment. She didn't knock. She pounded. I opened the door slowly. She looked tired. Her makeup was smeared, her coat wrinkled, her voice sharp despite it all. You think you proved something? She said. No, I answered. I know I did. You humiliated your sister. I looked at her for a long moment. She humiliated me. You did too. 4 years. You assumed I'd always be there, always fix things. Quietly. Not this time. She opened her mouth to argue. I didn't give her the space. I bought the venue. I paid for the honeymoon. I helped this family again and again, and you erased me. For optics. So this time, you got erased. She trembled but didn't reply. You can tell Muriel I'm not angry. I'm free. And that's a better gift than anything on her registry. And I closed the door. A month passed. Then 2. No calls. No apologies. Benjamin and I grabbed dinner once a week. We talked about real things. Sometimes, we even laughed about the great wedding disaster. I received a few messages from acquaintances who'd been there, congratulating me in ways that didn't need words. That was enough. I didn't need a public moment. I didn't need anyone to take sides. I had peace. I had power. And for the first time in my life, I had a family I chose. Not the one that tried to crop me out of their perfect picture. So I took the frame. And I burned it. Thank you for watching the video. Like it if you watched the video to the end and don't forget to subscribe. Have a nice day.